Think back to the early 2000s, right in that strange pocket of time when you were just a kid sitting cross-legged on the living room carpet. You were staring at a massive, heavy tube television, and you are absolutely mesmerized by a guy in jorts and neon green wristbands. You felt like he was your hero, right? You begged your exhausted mother, who was already dreading checking her bank app in the grocery store checkout line, to spend $35 on a scratchy cotton t-shirt with his face on it. You thought you chose him as your favorite. You thought you were just a fan supporting the good guy. But what if I told you that every single emotion you felt in that living room was engineered in a boardroom? What if your childhood loyalty wasn't organic at all, but rather the result of a meticulously calculated corporate algorithm designed to turn your parents into a biological ATM? Fast forward to right now. John Cena is on his massive 2025 retirement tour, and grown adults are openly weeping in arenas around the world. The media is framing this as the emotional farewell of a generational athlete, a titan of the ring stepping away gracefully. But they are completely missing the actual story playing out in the financial filings. This isn't the retirement of a man. This is the decommissioning of a perfectly optimized $100 million financial instrument. Now, I am not a financial advisor, and I don't manage hedge funds. I just read the public data, the historical court filings, and the behavioral psychology reports that these megacorporations pray you never look at. And when you look closely at the paperwork surrounding WWE in the late 2000s, a terrifyingly brilliant picture emerges. You see, the public narrative is that WWE transitioned out of the chaotic, blood-soaked Attitude Era, the days of Stone Cold Steve Austin chugging beers and flipping off his boss, because audience tastes simply evolved. We are told society just got a little softer, a little more family-friendly, and the programming had to adjust. That is a complete and total fabrication. The blood and the beer didn't stop because of a moral awakening. It stopped because you cannot sell a beer-swilling, foul-mouthed anti-hero to a Mattel toy executive. You can't put a guy bleeding from the forehead on a box of Post cereals. The executives in Stanford realized that appealing to angry teenagers and college kids was a terrible business model. Teenagers are fickle. They steal pay-per-views, and worse, they don't buy plastic toys. So, they needed a pivot. They needed a mascot so fundamentally flawless, so vibrantly colorful, and so morally unshakable that corporate sponsors would practically beg to hand over blank checks. They didn't need a wrestler. They needed a human billboard that could bypass a parent's financial defenses by hacking directly into a child's developing brain. But how do you actually do that? How do you create a character that makes a child throw a tantrum in a shopping mall if they don't get the latest neon sweatband? When I break this down, you're going to realize how trapped we all really are by the media we consume. Let me explain this using a brutally simple analogy. Think of the WWE machine during this era like a massive, neon-lit buffet in a windowless room. The food is salty, sweet, and highly addictive, but the plates are incredibly small. You have to keep getting up over and over to get another hit of that dopamine. The bright colors, the loud theme music, the predictable comeback sequence in every single match. It was all designed to be sensory crack for a 9-year-old brain. At that age, kids don't understand the nuance of moral ambiguity. They want absolute good versus absolute evil. They want a superhero, and John Cena was designed to be the ultimate parasocial anchor. When he looked directly into the camera and told you to never give up, your brain didn't register a television show. It registered a personal friend giving you a direct command. And that is where the merchandise comes in. The neon armbands, the dog tags, the hats, they weren't just clothing. To a kid navigating the terrifying, chaotic ecosystem of an elementary school playground, those items were literal armor. When a child put on that neon orange wristband, they weren't just showing off a brand. They were wrapping themselves in the psychological safety of an invincible superhero. And parents, desperate to see their kids smile and terrified of them feeling left out, happily paid the emotional ransom. But here is the truly genius part of this ecosystem, the PR shield. If a corporation is ruthlessly extracting hundreds of millions of dollars from working-class families by weaponizing child psychology, they're eventually going to face backlash, right? The media will call them greedy. Watchdog groups will investigate. Unless, of course, your corporate mascot is literally the most charitable human being on the face of the earth. Enter the Make-A-Wish Foundation. John Cena has granted over 650 wishes to terminally ill children. I want you to really anchor that number in reality for a second. That means getting on a plane, walking into a pediatric hospice ward, and looking a dying child in the eyes every single week for 12 and a half years straight. It is a genuinely beautiful, staggering act of human empathy. I am taking absolutely nothing away from the man himself, but from a corporate structural standpoint, it is the ultimate defensive mode. It is a Captain America shield for a publicly traded company. How can any journalist or angry parent criticize the financial ruthlessness of WWE's toy contracts when the face of the company is out there literally comforting dying children? You simply can't. It renders the corporation completely bulletproof. Now, listen carefully because we need to talk about the architect. None of this happened by accident. Vince McMahon and the WWE corporate board orchestrated this specific ecosystem with military precision. On July 22, 2008, WWE officially announced their transition to TVPG programming. This wasn't a subtle shift. It was a loud, declared mandate to Wall Street that the company was now a safe space for global capital. And it worked flawlessly. By 2009, they had locked in a master toy licensing deal with Mattel that spanned over 50 countries. By 2013, WWE's revenue had nearly tripled. They traded the unpredictable, volatile ratings of the Attitude Era for the boring, hyper-profitable consistency of blue-chip corporate partnerships. But there was a massive problem. The adults who had grown up on the edgy, violent programming absolutely hated the new sanitized direction. They despised John Cena. They booed him out of every arena. They chanted that he sucked. Conventional television logic dictates that if half your audience vehemently hates your main character, you change the character. You turn him into a bad guy. But the architect refused. For over a decade, despite deafening boos, Cena never turned evil. Why? Because adult men in their 20s buying beer do not buy $50 plastic championship belts. Children do. And the boardroom realized a terrifying psychological truth. The adult hatred actually made the financial engine run faster. When an 8-year-old kid heard a grown man booing his hero, it didn't make the kid turn away. It created a siege mentality. It triggered tribalism. The kid felt an overwhelming biological urge to defend his hero, which meant he yelled louder, watched longer, and begged his parents to buy even more neon shirts to prove his loyalty. The adult fans thought they were rebelling against the corporate machine, but their anger was literally the fuel keeping the machine running. The executives weaponized the outrage. They commodified the hatred. They took the friction between fathers and sons, between nostalgic adults and impressionable kids, and they monetized every single drop of it. It was a perfectly balanced equation where literally no one could win except the house. Which brings us to the invisible prison we all walk through every single day. This entire system was a flawlessly closed loop. Think about the daily path of a young fan in 2012. You wake up on John Cena bedsheets. You eat cereal out of a box with his face on it. You turn on the television and watch him overcome the odds. During the commercial break, Mattel shows you a plastic action figure of the exact thing you are watching. You go to a live event, and before you even see the ring, you have to walk past 4 different merchandise stands glowing with neon fabric. The show ends with him winning, releasing a flood of dopamine in your brain. You go to sleep, and the cycle starts all over again. You aren't interacting with a television show. You are walking on a meticulously designed conveyor belt that ends at your mother's credit card. And we see this exact same architecture everywhere today. The massive creator-led brands, the YouTube empires selling Feastables and energy drinks, they are all just borrowing the exact same blueprint drafted in a wrestling boardroom in 2008. They hook the child with high-retention, hyper-stimulating content. They become the child's parasocial best friend, and then they leverage that friendship to extract capital from the parents. We look back at our childhoods and we feel nostalgia for the colors, the catchphrases, and the heroes we defended on the playground. We think those memories belong to us. We think our loyalty was a choice. But the truth is, your devotion was plotted on a revenue chart months before you even knew his name. You were never just a fan cheering in the crowd. You were inventory, moving smoothly through a perfectly designed